In today's weapons video, we're going to talk about the Tanto. The Tanto, this is a wooden variation of it, is basically a dagger or a knife. Tanto Jutsu is kind of one of my favorite things. I work with it a lot. I think it's a very important weapon to work with. It is one weapon that, as a tactical knife, is something that we can legally carry with us. So, as their full arsenal of ninjutsu weapons, we can't carry around swords and chains and throwing knives and shurikens and explosives and different halberd weapons, and we can't, set up traps and things like that that have spikes and explosives that, we can't carry all that stuff with us. It would make life a lot easier if people knew, hey, you mess with that guy, he's going to blow you up. They'd probably leave you alone. So today we have to be more invisible. But the Tanto, the knife, is also something that we may see on the streets, and in many cases the knife can be a very deadly weapon because you may not even know you're cut severely until you feel the warmth of the blood. You may not even feel the penetration of the cut of the knife. You're just going to feel like something's wet, and then you're going to realize you're bleeding out, and then the clock is ticking for you to be able to stop that bleeding, as well as try to stop the guy who's still coming with the knife. So a knife can be just as deadly or worse as a gun, because a gun will go off, it'll attract attention, people hear the gun going off, and it may bring police or bring people to the area where if someone was to attack you with a knife, you may lay there on the floor bleeding to death and no one even know what happened. So it's something that I pay attention to. But I'm going to show you some drills, and we're going to work it off of the 7 cuts that are in the Q system. So with your Tanto, you've got to make sure you have a good grip. One of the more common things that I see is a lot of people put their hand on top. And what that does is that creates a space right here for that knife to be taken out. What you want to be able to do is make sure this hand is down over top and you've got a pretty tight grip. Just like you would hold a sword is the same way you would hold a Tanto. Think of the Tanto, just a very, very short sword. You don't want to have a separate set of movements with the Tanto that you can't use with a sword, or a separate set of movements with a sword that don't relate down to the Tanto. Just think of the Tanto as being a very small sword, the Wakizashi and the Shoto just being a little bit longer, the Ninjato and the regular katana. But I want to be able to use all of these skills. So I don't want to learn something with a sword that I can't necessarily use with a knife. And I don't want to learn something with a knife that I necessarily can't use with a sword. So my grip is going to stay the same. My body dynamics are going to stay the same. That means I can use any weapon. Any weapon. It doesn't even have to be a knife. It can be a stick. It can be a pole. It can be a taser. It can be a kubaton. It can be just something I pick up off the ground. Anything, if I hold it with this grip, now becomes a sword, or it now becomes a Tanto. Now there's certain advantages of a knife having a razor edge that can actually cut, can stab. So I would use a knife differently than I would use a small pole. But today we're talking about the Tanto. So everyone knows the 7 cuts. If you don't know the 7 cuts, I've got a couple videos on YouTube on that, but here's basically the 7 cuts. Etiquette with the Tanto is basically holding it out to the side and bowing it. You can hold it here, you can bow. If it's in your belt, this is how normal people wear it. A ninja would put it inside. I don't want to let my opponent know that I actually have the knife. And if I'm attacked, I want to be able to move in a way where I can attack and I can actually draw the blade and be able to do it without him being able to see it. So if you're to carry a knife around, a lot of people think they're cool. Look, I have a knife. Think of it like, oh shit, I can see it. He has a knife. He has a gun. Let's conceal it. So we're going to carry our knives inside of our jacket, inside of our belt, and make sure you practice being able to draw it and being able to hide it for when you can cut with it. All right? So basically the 7 cuts are going to be here. Slight angle, 1. Across the body or neck, 2. Cutting down an angle, 3, 4, 5, 6, and stab. Okay. On the skeet or the stab, If you're going to stab below the rib cage, the knife can be in this position here, vertical up and down. If you're going to stab higher, then the blade needs to turn flat, so it can go through the rib cage and penetrate deeper. Here I can get stuck in the bone. Turn the blade sideways, can now penetrate into the body. So if you see me sometimes with the knife flat, that's because I'm poking so low. If I turn my hand, that's because I'm trying to come in through the rib cage, puncture a lung, or come in and try to puncture a heart. So that's the difference, please. There's not a always on anything. It won't go in up here. I've got to turn it. Just also let you know, if I'm going to strike on the left side of the body, I'm going to turn the blade to the left so I can use it to come out of the rib cage easily. If I have the blade with the blade pointing here on the left side, I can't, the spine is here and I can't pull it that way. I can only go in and out with it. So if I come in on this position on the right side of the body, I'll turn it into the right side of the body so I can cut it out of the body if I need to be able to fight again. So just kind of a key point on that, right? This is what they call juntai, and this is what they call gyakute grip. Juntai, gyakute. And being able to practice with one hand, getting that to both grip positions is important, all right? And then you can practice the gyakute the same way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So you can practice those cuts with the gyakute position as easy with the juntai position. And then again, once you've got those 7 cuts down, be able to do them in a circle. So don't do them straight line. My first cut is here. My second cut is here. My third cut is here. My fourth cut is over here. My fifth cut. My sixth cut. And my stab. So again, I'm unlocking the train from the rails and I'm putting big 4-wheel drive tires on it and I can go anywhere I need to go. So learn how to move with it. Practice the drill over and over to be able to cut a certain way. Then once you have it, learn to do those in different motions where you can free yourself and learn to fight people in a 360-degree manner, right? So again, do your 7 cuts, spread out, do them all over the places. If you want to practice with a real knife, you can get some tatami mats and put a whole bunch of targets out there. And then with form and skill, learn how to cut all of the different targets. And be precise with it. You can take a wooden one and go out into a deep forest, and as you run around, cut trees. And make sure you cut a different cut every tree. Run, move, cut, 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 fight different trees close. Move through the trees, cut, 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 cut. And next thing you know, man, you're a mile into the woods and you've done 100 cuts. Put your knife away, get yourself back. It's a good little half-an-hour exercise with a little cardio. Also, don't forget your weights. Just with the weight in your hand. Being able to practice those cuts with the weight in your hand to be able to get the strength that you need to do it all, right? So that'll increase your speed. And if 5 pounds isn't big enough, go to whatever makes it heavy that you can still move it forward. But those are some exercises with the Tanto. So let's talk a little bit about the swords. I've got a great video, a couple out there on YouTube. I'm going to talk about some details that I think is important to add to that video. One, the misconception of the sword that the ninja would use a straight blade. In my experience, the ninja never used a straight blade, just a regular katana the very end was cut down, making the blade appear to have less of a curve. But the ninja would use a regular katana that would be 21 inches in length. The white part you see here would usually be shark or ray skin, and then it would have a wrapping that would be put on here made of cotton. I don't want to make it a sword class, but the ninja toe that you can get custom made for you at 21 inches is fine. It doesn't have to come from some ancient swordsmith. It just needs to be something that's a proper length so you can practice with. I have them in wooden versions, but as far as the steel versions, all I have is katanas. I don't have a steel ninja toe. I have the wooden ones from Kukishinryu and a wooden one from Togakuru. But Kenjutsu is Kenjutsu. And here's some exercises that you can do. Practicing your draw is important. Most people think that you just take and you rip the sword out of the scabbard. I want you guys to really understand that when you practice this, just make sure that no matter what happens to the sword, it's the handle that is removed the majority of the way. And then the body is used to the second part of the way. So my arm, my drawing arm, has done nothing. I've done everything with my left arm and my body, okay? So it may look like I'm actually drawing this with my right arm. And to be honest with you, there is a little bit of me that is doing that. But I want you to focus on, when you practice your drawing, is push the blade out as far as you possibly can. Bring it to your center. Step back with your right leg as far as you can without moving your right hand at all. Leave your right hand right here and step back as far as you can. That should bring the sword out. You won't have a strong grip here. Your finger's going to be open. So when you bring this forward, there is where you get your actual grip. Right? So a lot of people say, well, my fingers are not real tight or strong right here. This happens so fast that it doesn't really matter. So step one, bring it out as far as you can. Step two, step back as far as you can. Once the sword is free, bring it forward, get your grip, bring this around, and then you're in kama. To put it away, bring it here, put it away, make it real tight with your hand so there's nothing there, and bring this along your hand. Don't rub it along the metal or the wood of the scabbard. Have it be on your flesh. And you see how it can just sit. Bring your right hand up as you lean forward some. You'll feel the tip right there open. Now you know you can go here. Now again, you're going to step forward as you bring your left hand up. And you're using your thumb, your ring finger, and you're putting slight tension, holding the blade up so it's not dragging on the bottom of the scabbard. You're holding it up slightly. That's what makes the draw quiet. By using your hand and pinching it in, and using your fingers to lift the blade up slightly on the bottom of it, the blade itself is barely touching the inside of the scabbard. So it's not bouncing around because you've got your hand tight on it. Now it's going to take a little bit of while to practice that, and practice with a blade that's not sharp before you go cutting your hands off. When you do anything with me, I'm going to give you a number, 1,000. Once you've done it 1,000 times, you've earned the right to ask me a question. A lot of the questions that you would ask me at 15, 20, 30 times doing it, and you got all these questions, will work itself out by 200, 300, 400. 500, 600, you realize, okay, I'm cutting myself every time I do this. I need to change something. 700, 800, you're no longer cutting yourself. 900, you think you got it down. That last 100 is just going to be repetition to get it done. You got 1,000 under your belt. That 1,000 in one time, there's still something a little bit weird, something not making sense, send me an email. But if you do it like 5 times and go, wow, this is hard. I don't think I'm doing it right. Let me ask Sensei how to do it. Don't waste my time because you haven't spent your time. I'll give you all my time when you've invested in yourself. So make sure you've done something 1,000 times, 2,000 times before you think, hey, I need to get some help on something. Once you've done something 10,000 times, you can probably start showing other people. How many things in your life have you done 1,000 times? How many things in your life have you done 10,000 times? Over and over. So just kind of keep that number in mind. So when you've done 1,000 draws, I guarantee you it's going to look pretty good. It's going to be quiet. And a lot of those questions that you had will have answered themselves all out. Things to be careful of. In Ninpo, there is no set thing. Right? So let me just get that out. Right? Ninpo does not put anything inside of a box. Yes, there are guidelines and principles that start off in a box. But once you get to a certain level in Ninpo, the box goes away. That's what gives you the advantage. The samurai, or the regular street civilian guy that's out there, just think of a street fighter. Let's say that street fighter's been in 20 fights. Those 20 fights may have lasted a few minutes each. So in his fighting world, he may have 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half invested in fighting. If I train 2-3 hours a week, and I've done it for 10 years, I've got hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours practicing in combat compared to his hour and a half. That's where one of the advantages come in play. So when you practice, it's very important that you have a great teacher. I was lucky enough to have some great teachers, and I'm lucky enough to be able to pass this on to you. So if I suck, at least I know I've had some great teachers, and that information is coming to you via me from them. But I've added some things along my journey as well, and I think most of you out there are going to learn to appreciate that, at least one day before I die. But on the sword, the ninja would draw it straight forward. Okay? Many people on the samurai side of things practice drawing it this way. Does that mean that the ninja would never do it that way? No. And you see the way I'm putting the sword away again too. A lot of people who draw this way here, they'll put the sword away here. Does that mean that the ninja would never do that way? No. But my sword skills came from a specific Japanese grandmaster, and the way I was taught was that everything stays here and stays very center-lined coming out. This was important. And when I put the blade away, same thing as I want the blade to be facing forward in an attacking motion. Or while I'm putting the sword away, if I was attacked, I have the ability to quickly fight back. So even while I'm putting this blade away, at any given time, I can attack. Yeah, I could do the same thing here, but the ninja would be here. Okay? This way, I could do things in a very tight, confined way. Right? Learning to put the blade away. Right? So, does that mean you shouldn't practice draws like this, put away? Practice if you want to. But if you're going to be a ninja guy, get it down the Togaku way first. Forward, step, come on. Bring this behind your back. Second hand on top. Everything lined up through the center. Come on the eyes. Right? From there, practice your cuts. Each. Ni. So. Shi. Go. Ro. Sich. Kamai. And from Kamai, get the scabbard. Shibari. Switch feet. Down. And here. Push. Comes to the top here. My thumb is not closed yet. Thumb is here. I'm going to ease off with the thumb and use this hand to bring the blade back. thumb then goes over top so it doesn't fall out and no one can pull it away from me. And that's why I'm here. All right. Once you've got that draw down, you've got to learn how to be able to position yourself in different ways. So you can actually turn and draw this way. Here. Step back. As I spin back with my left leg, my left arm pushes forward, right? So if I step this way, watch what happens. If I step this way, this leg comes behind. By bringing this arm forward some, now allows me to draw the blade. If I want to turn around, left leg steps behind, sword comes up. So I'm lifting the sword up. I don't want to put a hole in my ceiling here, but I'm lifting this up so I can actually bring the scabbard down. Right? That's why I'm doing that. Right? Don't worry about the turnaround if you don't get to it. If you have to, you can step forward, draw the blade, turn. Nothing replaces repetition of doing something correctly 1,000 times. So if you start to draw as you're turning, you're going to feel a stagger. You need to make sure you make the full turn first, then the draw, then come on. If you don't have time, don't worry about the scabbard. If you have time, get it out of the way so your arms can move freely with nothing in the way. This is Chiburi. Up, lift, down, forward, cross. Right? There's ways to draw upside down. I got other sword videos out there. But I just want to touch a little bit more about how to draw, practicing that. And then once the sword is drawn, making sure that you can go into kamais and practice more cuts. Over and over and over again until it just becomes natural. And learning how to put it away smoothly there. Hopefully that'll help your sword training. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about the Rokushaku bow. The Rokushaku bow is a 6-foot staff. A shaku is a measurement of length in Japan. 1 shaku, 2 shakos, ichi shaku, ni shaku. So roku, 6. Rokushaku, 6 measurement of length. 1 shaku is equivalent or close to 1 foot in inches. So this is a 6-foot staff. You have to remember, to a Japanese person, this is a big weapon. For us, some people, not so big. But remember, the bow was not the weapon they left the house with, or they left camp with, or they left the battlefield to go into war with. This at one point in time was a spear. It had a metal blade on the end. And at some point in combat that day, that metal blade had been broken off. People with swords and other weapons continued to fight you. So until you could get your hands on another working weapon, you use the 6-foot staff in the meantime. Okay? If I was on the battlefield in the Marine Corps and my gun jam was broken and I had an enemy weapon on the ground, I had enough knowledge to be able to pick it up, clear the chamber, see if it had rounds, see if it was functional. If I could, I'd fire around to make sure the gun worked, and I would go. If I didn't have that option, I would use that M16 as a metal stick, and I would beat my opponent to death with it, even if it didn't fire. So just because I don't have a working yari or a working spear, I'm going to beat him to death with this staff, or I'm going to buy me time until I can get a weapon. So don't think that back in the day, they was like, oh, we're going to war. And somebody's like, yay, let me go get my stick. Didn't happen like that. Wouldn't work real good. So this was a broken weapon that the warrior was adapting to save his life and buy time on the battlefield. I could probably teach for years just on Rokushaku. If we only did Rokushaku, I could probably teach all of you for 5 or 6 years, nonstop, 5 days a week, and we would have plenty of material to work with. What I'm going to show you today is a pattern that I do as a warm-up, like the Go Gyo no Kata with a Rokushaku. It's basically I've combined a few different techniques, patterns, all into one movement to kind of warm up with, right? It'll take me a long time to teach you in detail, step by step by step by step, right? And I don't want to mess up this place by putting holes in the wall. It would be better to be done outside, so I'm going to do a little bit slow, and I may actually do it with a smaller weapon, so I don't put holes in the ceiling. Bear with me on that. I'm going to show you the kata at a semi-normal speed, and then I'm going to try to break it down for you. And I think if you can learn this pattern, this is something you could do with the Rokushaku bow over and over and over, and it's going to teach you many, many, many different types of strikes with the bow. All right. There's different kamais. This is here Ichimonji no kamai. So you can start here, and then you're going to go to Ichimonji no kamai, which is here. You get the Shiho Bo Furi Kata, rolling of the bow. 1, 2. From here, we're going to strike to the head. From the top of your head to the head, to the ribs, to the ribs, to the knees, to the knees. This is a strike up to the groin, up to the groin, to the head, to the head, to the knee, to the head, to the knee, to the head, blocking, striking, striking, poke, block, strike, strike, poke, here, come on, step, she's in. I know, don't worry about it. Shiho Bo Furi Kata is learning how to spin the Rokushaku bow this way here, right? This will take you some time if you don't know how to do it, okay? But this is how you do it. There's a lot of different ways to think about it, but I'll slow it down. Some of the things you don't want to do is ever cross your wrists over. When the bow comes around, you grab it underneath. So it's basically you push, catch, catch, strike. Push, catch, catch, underneath. 1, 2, 3, step. 1, 2, 3, step. Right? There's a whole bunch of motorcycle, baseball, golf, flip the motorcycle, baseball, golf. And if you were 5 years old, I'd probably try to tell you like that. What I prefer is learning how to, from kamai, backhand comes forward. And you've just got to learn that when a new end comes by, you grab it from the top grab it from the bottom, and then strike. So it's basically, you got to think you're going to go left hand, right hand, step, push. Now you're going to go right hand, left hand, step, push, catch, catch. And once you get it down, you'll learn how to move your body with it, so it can be done with just one hand. And your motion of your body will create the spin of the step. And then you'll learn how to use your backhand to get more speed with it by pushing it down. Don't bring your hand out here and push. A lot of people do it like this. Don't do that. Keep your hands centered. Right? It's important for you to be able to have your hands centered, for you to be able to do different things with the step. All right. So if you're playing along at home, 1, hiri ichimonji. 2, ichimonji. 3, right side, shihobo furikata. Left side, shihobo furikata. Right side, that was 3. From here, step, right side, migi, do, head. Push, catch, step. Push, catch, ribs, ribs. You're basically doing this motion, shihobo furikata, but you're learning how to do it above your head. And you're only grounding at your hip. Or a shakubo, or even a yari, or even a naginata, or a big hall weapon, your power comes in your hips and your body striking. Right? So it's not me just like twisting this arm to get it. That's some of the power, is this wrist snapping. Some of it is there. A majority of it is the combination of the snapping and the pulling and the turning of the body. That's what creates the power in the Rokushaku. All right. So I know I threw everybody off with your counting here, but I'll just count the steps. Right. So forget the kamai. Make this. Well, okay. Let's make this step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, something like that, right? And there's a whole bunch of movements in between all that, because these block, strikes, and flips, this is blocking and hitting, flipping, poking, right? This motion here is striking. He jumps up in the air and comes with attack. I'm coming behind as I'm moving and I'm striking. So learning how to do this here is a drill on its own. And what you want to do is make sure that this backhand pushes so it comes over easily. Here, push, strike. When you take it behind your back, get as much of the bow forward as you can, so when you let go of it, it's not like way back here where it's coming way up. Take this backhand and bring it forward so it comes over easily. The more that you can bring the weight forward, you see how it falls naturally. I want to almost throw it up over my back. Throw it up over my back. Really pushing with it up over my back. You see how it comes very naturally, where I'm not taking this hand here and pulling it over my back. It's so far forward that if I let go, there's so much weight this way that it falls naturally. So that's why I want you to push so it comes over smooth, right? So you go to strike, he jumps, you learn to move, and you can hit. Boom, here, boom, 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 right? There's a couple different ways of doing it, but that's how I like it, right? So the skills you need is practicing Shiho Bo Furikata. Get that down. Then learn how to turn that to the overhead. Once you get the 6 strikes overhead, practice this again once, twice, and that transition. You'll hit the ceiling twice on that transition. I had a house once, and the whole roof, because I had a lot of students, must have had hundreds of bojutsu and sword hits, and it took me forever to sand it down, spackle it, and I never did get the money out of that house because it had basement. So in this place, there's a rule I'm breaking: no weapons indoor. Even after 35 years, I'm hitting a 7.5 foot, 8 foot ceiling with the Rokushaku bow. And I got a pretty good stance, and I'm pretty good at this, but you know, it's just how it needs to be done. If I was outside, it really wouldn't matter. But just to let you know, don't try to do this in your kitchen or your living room. You're probably going to break some stuff. And I definitely don't recommend it with a ceiling fan. I know for a fact that doesn't work out well. So, again, Shiho Bo Furi. Get that down. Get the above the head strikes down. Being able to practice that over and over. And then once you get to this part here, this transition here is catch, catch, bring it this way, step, strike, right? There, boom, strike. Then again, strike. And pull back, strike low. The grip on this backhand is palm up. I keep it that way, but it rotates around, but I don't change my hand. Now my hand is on the top part. Then I'm gonna bring my weight forward, bring it over my shoulder, catch, catch, strike to the temple, pull back, palm up, step, strike. But let this swing through. Don't change your grip. Keep this hand grip the same way. Let it come around, over top, strike. Someone's skeeting into the middle. Position your hands with space. Block that. Strike down, flip over, pull back, thrust. Pull, block, strike, flip, poke. And then from here, you gotta learn how to pull. Right here, palm open, rotates, kamae. This is a kamae, but I can strike. I still have a strike here, which allows me to do other things with the bow. So it's kind of a hidden kamae. All right? I'll do like 1 or 2 more times, and you're gonna need to take your own notes, write down. I'll try to do it slow as I can, but whole thing would be here. Onegaishimasu. Nice and slow. Don't give up on it. You'll get it.